I will make that available to the folks that are not here, if they so desire. Okay. And we will get started here in another few seconds.
Where do you live, Peter?
St. Louis, Missouri,
Ah,
just south of Chicago.
Oh.
5.5 hours south.
Hello, Avi. I'm not sure how to pronounce that.
Pronounced it perfectly. Hey, Diz, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. It's a nice night. Yeah.
I hope I didn't wake you up.
It is 1 a.m. in my side of the world, but I I just got home from a night out with some friends. It was a reunion. We did
Oh,
dinner.
very nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Very, very nice. Well, all
Classmates
right.
from 12 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know.
Wow. I would not speak to any of the people that I knew in elementary school, quite frankly. They're all, well, never mind. Okay. America is a very interesting place right now. Let's see here. Who are we waiting on? We're waiting on, well, Beth. Let's see. Beth has not seen the message. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. I'm recording it. So let's get started. Where's my notes? First of all, thank you everybody for taking a chance on this class. This is the first time I've ever taught this workshop. This is something that's been kind of, as I was telling Peter, when he got on here, we were chatting beforehand. This is something that's been kind of on my mind for a while. I've been, oh, let me tell you about me, I guess. I should add that to the notes. Introduce yourself. There's my, I'm going to say Maddie until they correct me. And they've disappeared. Okay. Oh, there we go. Almost. I'm going to wait. You know, this transcription's not too bad, Peter.
No, it's great.
It makes mistakes and then it goes back and fixes them.
Occasionally.
Maddie, are you there? Connecting to audio. Oh, there we go. Maddie, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Am I pronouncing your name right, Maddie?
Maddie, yeah, that's right.
Okay, great. What part of the world are you from?
Germany, Hamburg.
Germany. Excellent. I thought that might be the case. All right. Well, you're just in time. We're missing one person, but we're going to plow on ahead. We're recording this, so I hope you're okay with that. Right. So my name is Steve Disbrow. I am the co-founder and former executive and artistic director of Improv Chattanooga here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Been doing improv since 2002. When I was pulled out of a play by my old mentor, Kevin Bartolomucci, and thrown into the deep end with absolutely no training whatsoever. Sort of learned it along the way. I've been hosting shows for ever. It's one of my favorite things to do. I like teaching improv. I like hosting shows. And I guess performing actually might be a distant third. But anyway, that's me. I seem to remember going around the room and letting people introduce themselves. So let's do that. We'll start with Laura. Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
hey everyone. So yeah, my name's Laura. I am based in Bristol in the UK. I've been performing improv since 2016 and I've been directing and teaching since 2017, Zoomprov and RealProv. Signed up for this because hosting isn't really something I do much of. I shy away from it because I find that I feel it's cheesy, but it's just internalizing that. So I want to practice that today. So that's why I've signed up.
You're not wrong.
No, I'll tag in Danelle.
Oh, thanks, Laura. So I'm Danelle, and I have done very little on stage improv since COVID. I still hang out with my first grade friends, my ninth grade friends. We have reunions all the time. And I'm hosting a big, everybody's coming over so we can have fun while my improvers. So I'm starting to come back out again. To be honest, there's part of me that is approaching this like, oh, I need to go to the gym class. Hosting is just one of those things that I'd rather leave to somebody else. And I don't know why that is. I put a lot of I overthink it and I think, oh, I'm drained, I'm tired, I need somebody else to rev me up. And that's just the mood set that I'm following into for some reason. I've had the past of, putting on a whole presentation at Stanford and I've had my own, I used to produce a television show and I've done things, but there's different personalities up here or different stages. And I find that when I'm thinking about, oh, my health issues or all the things I have to do, I don't know how to play any games. I don't know how to host, just goes blank. So there it is. I'm going to be your challenge. My challenge.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Welcome.
Thank you.
Peter.
I'm Peter. I'm in St. Louis, Missouri. I've been improvising for about 11 years now. I started in short form during the pandemic. Everything became Zoom and found my way into long form unknowingly. And so I kind of, I go both ways. I have performed live. I haven't really performed live in a long time. And I'm the president of a small nonprofit here in St. Louis. And I figured this would be another skill to have. So that's why I'm here. And I bought Steve's book, I think, a year or so ago.
Oh my God, that's right. You did.
So I have
Thank you.
them on my shelf back there. So, Javi, how about you?
Thanks, Peter. Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm now curious about this book. Woo! Okay, I'm just trying to hype myself up because it's 1:12 in the morning in the Philippines. Hi, I'm zooming in from Asia. Speaking of Asia, the Singapore Improv Festival was just announced a couple of days ago, and they're finally taking in submission. So I know that hosting is going to be important. I've hosted before, but I empathize with you, Danelle. Sometimes there's that feeling where it's like, I feel like I could delegate this to somebody else. My most recent hosting experience, I suppose, is I was asked, I emceed at my brother's wedding reception quite recently, and I know an improv thing is different than that. So I, like you, Laura, you've been teaching for a while. I'm in my 5th year improvising. I started in 2019, but I've just been really having so much fun and meeting so many people from around the world in it. So I really want to venture into teaching. I have coached the team and I tutor like improvisers here in the Philippines every now and then, but I would like to start exploring into the directing and the teaching aspect. I know hosting is going to be important to that too. Just try to round out the skill sets. Thank you. Gonna pass it up to, yeah.
Hey, my name is Aaron. I've been improvising now for about 3 years. I wanted to get into the hosting side of it because that's just kind of like where I think I'm at. I've grown so much in the last 3 years that I've been doing it. I'm originally from Detroit. I lived in Florida for a little while. Now I'm here in Chad. And that's kind of like where I'm at.
Okay. Maddie.
Yeah, hi, I'm Maddie. I'm from Hamburg, Germany. Yeah, I've been doing improv for some years now. I don't know how many years. And I started teaching. I mean, not teaching, leading beginner workshop classes, so to say. So that's a lot of fun. It's more like community improv, it's not that I'm really a coach. And I'm every once in a while I'm hosting an improv jam. But I still can learn more about it. I want to learn more about hosting, how to get better at it, and yeah. It's sometimes hard to like interview the audience for me and all that stuff and warm up the audience. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So that's maybe you can tell us more about that. Thank
I
you.
will certainly try. Okay. Well, welcome everybody. Yeah, that's my book. It's
Here,
a
I'll-
chick. I'm sold out, unfortunately. It's called Improv Your Key to the Multiverse, and it was a pandemic project. It was to put the goal was to put all the rules of improv and some basic games into a 24-page little book that you could leave like a religious tract.
Oh,
Ever there, it looks like a chick tract if you know what those are, because it was sort of a spoof on those. So I might reprint it someday, but there you go. There's the mailer. Good Lord.
So
I keep them in there so I don't lose it.
Yeah. So yes, Danelle.
that reminds me, that would have been so perfect to have. I heard of an improv festival where unfortunately the organizers or the place that they had it on double booked, and it was at the last minute that all the improvisers and all the people had to figure out if they were going to go or not and bunch up. They had double booked with ladies church retreat kind of deal. And they literally did. Those ladies did pass out
chick tracts
brochures to all the improvisers because they had to eat together and everything.
Well, that was kind of the idea. If you're familiar with chick tracts, on the back, it's got a place where you could put your church information. And so that was the idea. You could put your improv troupe information on the back.
Oh, that's amazing.
So maybe I need to reprint another 1,000.
I'm going to tell everybody tonight about you.
Okay.
Yeah, the silver lining is half of the women in that church retreat are now improvisers. That's a good thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
I wish. Okay, so let's go on then. So what is the goal of this workshop?
From ucdavis.edu.
Alexa, stop. I'm sorry, I have an Alexa, and she just she tried to answer that question for me. Let me turn her off. Okay. So Alexa's input notwithstanding, what is the goal of this workshop? In case you've not noticed, improv as an art form, I'm using air quotes as an art form. I think it's an art form, but the rest of the world really doesn't see improv as an art form. It has a less than spectacular reputation in the world of entertainment. Improv is regularly the butt of jokes on late night television and television in general, and ridicule. The improvisers are the victim of ridicule and even hostility in some cases. There is a very, very good cartoon for adults called Harley Quinn on HBO, where during one episode, an entire troop of improvisers is mowed down with gunfire and everybody just laughs it off. And that sort of bothers me. So one big reason for this, I think, is that improv is seen as amateurish or hack, and watching it can be described as a chore or a fate worse than death. Conan O'Brien famously cannot stand to watch improv because, as he puts it, and I'm paraphrasing here, it's all terrible. Okay, of course that's his opinion. He got his start in improv. That's how he met like Lisa Kudrow and places like that and people like that. And ironically, he's a very good improviser himself. If you listen to his podcast, he does an excellent job at creating realities and staying in character and all that sort of stuff. So my question though is, why is improv seen this way out in the world? And the main answer that I can come up with is because we let it be seen this way. Okay. Improv shows are typically put together with no thought to the presentation or the professionalism involved. Actors turn up dressed however they feel like it. They rush onto the stage and start the show with no prep other than got your back and check in. Okay. So the purpose of this workshop is to help change that one show at a time by giving you guys the tools that you need to put on a professional improv show that will leave your actors happy and your audience impressed and wanting to come back for more. So, the gold standard is Whose Line Is It Anyway, the TV show. They dress professionally, they act professionally for the most part, unless you see the bloopers. And they package it into a professional entertainment experience. A quick aside that I did not have in my notes that I want to tell you about because it's relevant, and I'm going to put it in my notes for next time. The Who's Live show, which is the live version of Whose Line Is It Anyway, came through town a couple years ago, and we went full force. Everybody in the troupe went. There were 20 of us. We all had our Improv Chattanooga t-shirts on. We were giving out passes, come back, $3 off. Some of them were free passes. 800 people filled this room, right? 800 people filled this venue to see this show. One of our improvisers got on stage in her Improv Chattanooga shirt. She got the biggest laugh of the night. I'm sitting there just dreaming of these crowds that were going to show up. Nobody came to one of our shows after that. Not a single card came back. Okay. And that's because local improv is seen as crap. It's not seen as professional. I pride myself on the shows that we put on at Improv Chattanooga. I think we put on tremendously good shows, and I would put any of my actors on stage with any of those guys in Whose Line. But the perception is that if it's in a little theater off to the side in some little hole in your town, it's not going to be any good. So we need to change that by putting on professional shows. So that's the goal of this workshop. Small potatoes, right? So why should you host a show? A good, reliable host is a hot commodity in any area of entertainment. I think it was Javi. I'm going to screw it up. I'm sorry. I got it right one time and that's it. I apologize. He was talking about, he hosted, what was it? A wedding?
Yeah, wedding reception.
Wedding reception. And there are a lot of improv skills that can translate to that. High school reunions. I've hosted a high school reunion before. I've done weddings. I've done all that sort of stuff. I like to speak at funerals. It's just another part of this whole hosting thing. Once you get this tool in your belt, you can step up and do any of these things if you're so inclined to do them. So becoming a good host, a good solid host, increases your saleability, for lack of a better word, a lot, because you're typically the first person to step up and say, yeah, I'll do that. And then if you do a good job, so much the better. When you host, you become the face of the show, right? And you also, if you do it a lot, you become the face of your troupe. Now, that has some drawbacks. You don't get to play as much, which if you really like playing, that can be a problem, but there are other benefits. Again, you become the face of the show, you become the face of the troupe, you get invited to do like public appearances like radio and TV, that sort of thing. And you do get to play. If you're hosting correctly, you get to play a lot with the audience. I would say you get to play in every game because you're getting the ask for, you're running the bell or whatever it is you use to change things up. And you are there as player number 3. A perfect example of this is New Choice. So when you're playing New Choice, you've got 2 actors on stage and they're acting out a scene, but you're ringing the bell, right? So you're driving that scene. You're telling that scene where it's going to go. You're the third player. And when I teach a class and I teach New Choice, I say to the students, this is a 3-player game. It's up to you guys on stage to give me something to ring the bell against. Okay. So as the host, you're playing in that game. And if there's a game that you really, really love, you can always put yourself in that game. For example, for me, that game is the ABC game, or also the alphabet game, where you speak one, the next letter starts with the next letter of the alphabet. A lot of the people in Improv Chattanooga do not like that game. And so I would put myself in that game along with the one person before the show who would say, I would like to play the ABC game. So there are opportunities to play. Now, as the host, you help the audience and the actors put on the best show possible. Okay. Whenever I teach a 101 class, I tell the students, and Aaron has been a student of mine, he can attest to this. I tell the students when we're discussing the showcase that's going to happen at the end of the show, my job as the host and as your teacher is to make you, during the showcase, is to make you look like gods. It is to make sure that when you come off the stage at the end of the night, the audience, your friends and your family, and even just passerby that happen to show up, they're going, how did you do that? How did you know to do that? How did you make that happen? You just go, it's improv. It's easy. It's not easy. We know it's not easy, but it's my job. It's the host's job to make it look easy, right? So there are some downsides to hosting. Again, you don't get to play as much. That really is the main downside. That's pretty much it. If you can get over the fact that you're not going to get to play as much and you're comfortable with hosting and taking on that responsibility, then I think you'll enjoy it. Hosting is a big responsibility. Okay. It is a very big responsibility. And oftentimes nobody in your troupe will thank you for doing it. That actually is about 99.9% of the time. They will come off the stage and they will have that same attitude that Danelle sort of alluded to. I'm going to let somebody else do that. Let them do that. It's not that big a deal, but I don't want to do it. It is a big deal. It's hard. It can take a lot of time and effort, as you'll see as we go through this. Now, some of the stuff that we're going to talk about in this workshop might be beyond your current level of influence within your troupe. You might not be able to go to your troupe and say, hey, in the next show, I'm going to host and you guys are going to dress a certain way. Okay, there's going to be a dress code. You might not have that level of authority yet, but I strongly encourage you to take these things that I'm going to discuss to your management and say, hey, I think this would really help, and then talk it through with them. Okay. And see if you can get some buy-in from them. All right. So any questions so far? Okay. I got big chunks of words. Okay. All right. So minimum requirements for you to be an effective host. First of all, you have to know your games and forms. Okay. You have to know them, because if you're hosting the show and you're constantly going through your notes, so our next game is, oh, I don't remember how this game works. Guys, how does this game work? That's not good. You want to present, again, what we're going for is professionalism and preparedness, and it should look like you've just stepped out of a TV studio and you know exactly what you're doing. You've rehearsed this before. Let's see here. You got to be loud. How many times have you ever got that note? Be louder. As the host, you have to be the loudest one in the room. And this, of course, assumes that you're not mic'd. If you are mic'd, that's a different story. But still be a little loud, even if you're mic'd, just to keep in practice. I myself famously here locally eschew microphones. I look at a room and say, oh, I can hit that guy in the back. I can shout loud enough to hit that person. But if you have mics, use them to your advantage. Be enthusiastic and appreciative to the audience. Okay. The attitude that you present to the audience as the host should be this. You know what, folks, there's a lot of different stuff going on here in town tonight. Thank you so much for coming, because nobody in this town, and I mean nobody in this town, is going to have as much fun as we're going to have here tonight. That should be your attitude for hosting. Okay. That should be at the top of the show and all the way through to the end of the show till you're taking your bows. Have that enthusiasm, have that appreciation. Because how many of you ever done an improv show for two people? One person. That was our rule. If one person shows up and pays the bucks, we do the show. So be appreciative. Next, be kind. This has become a big thing in improv over the last few years, but it bears repeating. Be kind to your audience and to your actors. Sometimes actors will screw up, and if you're a wise ass like me, you might find it an opportunity to make fun of an actor that screws up. Don't do that. Fight that out. Fight that instinct. Just present your actors in the best light you possibly can, and play off any flubs as, oh, they meant to do that. Oh, that made it funnier, didn't it? And do not berate the audience unless you have a heckler. Hecklers are a completely different situation. We don't have a lot of hecklers in improv, but they do exist, and we'll talk about those a little bit later. Okay, so those are your minimum requirements. Anybody have any questions about that? No? Okay. Now let's talk about show prep. When you're hosting the show, you're actually going to be producing the show. I think it was Danelle said they were a producer, and Peter also is a producer. I've been a producer. I've done commercials and TV shows and things like that, and improv shows. So when you're going to host the show, especially if you're in like a small troupe or a small, there's not a lot of other folks around that are willing to take on this thing. You're going to be doing a lot of the legwork and sweat and blood and tears and all that stuff yourself. So show prep includes a lot of different things. For me, it starts with your actors, who's going to be in the show. And I mentioned earlier a dress code. At Improv Chattanooga, we had a dress code, and that dress code was this. For a paying show, I don't care what you look like at practice, I don't care about any of that crap. But for a paying show or a student showcase, you wear a black top, no logo. This would not pass. This is my Star Trek shirt. It would not pass. If an actor showed up with this shirt, I would send them home or make them turn it inside out. Right? So no logos, no corporate crap, nothing to distract the audience. You want your actors to be a blank slate that they can project a character upon, right? And you want if I come out and I'm doing a Star Wars thing and I've got a Star Trek t-shirt on, that kind of it's not a huge ask for the audience, but it's an ask. You're causing them to use mental muscles that they would otherwise just be using to be completely involved in your scene. So for students, black top, no logos, nothing special, just a black top. Your stereotypical improv garb. Slacks or jeans for the ladies, a dress or a skirt, no shorts. We've had a long-standing policy against shorts in our shows. They look unprofessional, especially on stage. Somebody pays $10, they don't want to look at my chicken legs, right? For a normal show, for your main troupe, what I like to call Friday business casual. Just think of what they wear on Who's Line. Button-down shirt, slacks, jeans. I've never seen anybody on there I've never seen anybody there. They don't have a lot of ladies on the show, unfortunately, but I've never seen a lady wear a dress, which I think is kind of a mistake on their part. But just dress what you would wear at a day job, business Friday casual. Again, no logos, nothing to distract the audience from the world you're trying to create. Let's see. I already said that. Make sure that you have all of your tools. Now, what do I mean when I say tools? I mean a bell. Now, this is going to vary from troupe to troupe, but a bell, for games like New Choice and that. A horn, if you do things that involve a horn, have a horn. A clipboard to have your show run on. We'll talk about show run here in just a few minutes. And a timer or clock. Nowadays, everybody's got a watch or a phone that's got a timer on it or a clock. You need that for timed games like a countdown or crap. There are a bunch of timed games. I just don't remember any names right now. We will be going over countdown as an example here in a little bit. Let's see. And when I say have these tools, I mean get your own personal copies of these tools. Get your own horn, get your own bell, get your own clipboard, put them in your car. If you're going to be hosting a show or you're going to be going to a show, you want to be ready to be able to host if you're needed. And if whoever, we had a bag at Improv Chattanooga that had everything in it. It had the cameras, it had the bell, it had the horn, and I always still took my own bell and my own horn because as sure as the sun's going to come up tomorrow, somebody one time or another is going to forget that bag. Yeah. And then you got a show to do and you got no tools to run the show. Let's see. Put your tools before the show, put your tools on the stage. Put everything where it needs to be at showtime. Don't necessarily carry it out with you. One of the places that we perform is a theater called the MAC, Mountain Arts Community Center. It has a huge stage. It's like, what did you say, 30 feet wide, Aaron, at least. And so I would actually put a bell at each end of the stage so that if I'm hosting and something draws me to the other end of the stage and I forget the bell, I don't have to waste time going back to get the bell. I've got a bell at the other end. Same with the horn. I've got a horn at each end. You know, might be overkill, but it saves a lot of time during the actual show. If you record your shows with video, know where your cameras are. Okay. As host, you will probably have to set up the cameras. That was something that I had to do a lot. There's nothing more depressing than finishing up a fantastic show and getting the video home and looking at it, and it's just the back of your head because you were standing in front of one camera or another the entire time. Another thing is know where you've placed your microphones. We would mic our shows and, you know, have a microphone on the ground. You don't want your actors accidentally stepping on the microphone or something like that if it's near the stage. So just be cognizant of where all that AV stuff is. Also let your actors know where they are too, because one time we lost audio for a show because one of the actors actually kicked the microphone off the stage. It was there on the stage because that was the only place we could put it. And they kicked it off the stage accidentally. Let's see here. Okay. When you hear the call for 5 minutes, be sure to make a last pass of the performance area to make sure that your bell is set, your horn is set, your cameras are set. Turn your cameras on, start recording the show. If you are recording the show, what I would do is after I get all the cameras on and the microphone on, I would do a clap, like, you know, a clapboard to sync up all the audio and the video. And then make your way out once you're sure everything's working and running properly. Let's see here. What else have I got? Any questions so far? Okay. Next up, we'll talk about the show itself. If you're going to host, typically you're going to cast the show. Does anybody here do a show where people show up and they just go? You don't actually cast the show and put people in games? Okay. So yeah, my advice, if you don't precast your shows, my advice is to always precast your shows, simply because it lets you put the right performer in the right game. You don't want it. You don't want somebody that hates a particular game in that particular game. I know, like I said earlier, a lot of people don't like the ABC game. So you don't want to cast somebody that hates the ABC game, or more likely just does not know their alphabet, which is a sad fact of life. Let me show an example. And I've got a link here that I'm going to share with you guys. This is a Google, where is it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. There it is. Okay, so let me, hang on a second. I'm going to share my screen here and I'm going to show you guys a Google desktop 2. No, that's not right. There it is. Okay. All right, can you guys see this?
Yep.
Okay. So here we've got a sample of a show run. I've changed the names of everybody, but this was an intermediate showcase class. And this is Google Sheets. You can use whatever spreadsheet you like to do this. But down the left here, I've got the names of my games. Then I've got the number of players that are required for each game. And then I've got a series of check boxes that show who's in the game. Down at the bottom here, I've got the total number of games that each of these players are in. So we've got Alice, Bob, Connie, Donald, Eve, and Frank. Now, Frank was my teaching assistant, so he's playing in a lot fewer games. I used Frank to balance things out when I didn't have the proper number of players for a particular game, and I didn't want some players to have more games than others. So down here, you can see every player's in 8 games. Over here, what to ask the audience for. Now, this assumes that you're going to print this out, and it's going to basically be this. Can I select this? You're going to print out this area right here that I've got highlighted. So you've got your show run on the left, you've got what you're going to ask for each game on the right. And then, well, actually, it should probably print out. Oops. Oh, stop that. Should probably print out that much, because then I would write down what we actually got to go back, so I would have that as a reference later. That's optional. So then I've got some formulas over here. As I check the check boxes, you'll see the numbers change, and it tells me whether the game is full or not. Okay. So I've got for superheroes, that's a 4-player game. I've got 4 players in it. If I accidentally put Eve in it, then, well, it should say over full, but it says not full. So yeah, so using a spreadsheet is a very easy and useful way to make sure that you've got all your games cast properly, and that you're not going to actually, end up a player short or have too many players. And having what to ask for there. And of course, you don't have to ask for these things. Sometimes, depending on how the night's going, how the audience is, you might get an idea to ask for something different for a particular game. But if you have a brain freeze, you've got your list of ask fors right there, and you can just go right to it, and you don't have to worry about what to ask for. Now, let me take this and put it in the chat. How do I stop sharing? Oh, that's back in Zoom. Where's Zoom? There you are. Whoops. Oh, wait, where's my, okay. All right, Zoom, what are you doing? Where's my window? Oh, let's see here.
Yeah, Zoom updated, so now Zoom's being all
Oh my goodness.
unpredictable.
Why
So
can I not?
if in doubt, press escape.
Oh, no, there it is. It resized the, oh, that's just horrible. It resized the window. I can't get to my chat. Let's see here. View chat. There we go. Oh, no, here's the chat. All right, so there's a link to that spreadsheet. I do apologize. Javi is right. Zoom is updated, and it is just sort of awful now. And if Zoom, if your AI is scanning all these chats and recorded conversations, your software is getting worse. Let's see. Where are my notes? There they are. Okay. Oh, okay. Stop sharing. There it is. Now I'm back. Okay. All right. So feel free to take that spreadsheet, copy it to, I originally developed that in Numbers on the Macintosh. And if somebody's interested in that, I can send you that file. But everybody has access to Google Sheets for free. So that's a good option too. Any questions about any of that? Casting shows, using the spreadsheet, any of that?
This is kind of backtracking this, but
Sure.
what's your experience with improvisers with clip-on mics on them? Maybe it's so that the video recording hears them better.
Oh, that's perfectly fine. As long as it works for you, then then as long as the audience can hear you. You got to, the AV should be in service to the show and memorializing the show. If it gets in the way of the audience's enjoyment of the show, then I would throw that stuff out. But if it works, then by all means use it. Laura.
In regards to the advice of try and pre-cast your show when possible, one of the things we do in our theatre is host a jam where we just welcome the audience to come up on stage. So I guess from what you're saying is you should at least tell them what game it is before they come up on stage, because some of them might pre-volunteer themselves for the alphabet game, then be told it's the alphabet game and feel more uncomfortable getting off stage and being like, no, and put themselves through it.
Yeah, I mean, a jam is a little different. This all is mostly focused on paid shows where the public is paying to see your wares, as it were. But yeah, definitely you want the whole thing is you don't want actors to be uncomfortable. You don't want because uncomfortable people don't really typically do their best work. So yeah, in that particular instance, you would definitely want to let people know what the game it is that they've volunteered for ahead of time and give them an out. You know, when I teach 101 or any class, the last instance of the class is a showcase show. And so that's week 8. So at the end of week 7, we'll take the last 15 minutes or so of the class and say, okay, so here are the games we've gone over. Here are the games we're thinking of playing in the showcase. And I go down the list and say, if you don't want to play this game, raise your hand. So like the ABC game, all the hands go up. And so you have to honor that, because again, your job is to make them look fantastic and to put on a good show. So if somebody doesn't want to play that game, then they don't play that game. I also give people the opportunity to say, I absolutely want to play this game. If they really love a game, I will do my best to put them in it. And if it comes down to everybody wants to play the game, then typically I will get with my TA and discuss, who's the best fit for this game that's going to put on the best show. So, did that answer your question? Okay. Anybody else? Yes, Danelle.
So as the host, remembering all the games and all the who's in them without using a cheat sheet seems like a lot. What I've seen done is the host says, who wants to do the next game? And the people know. They come out and they name the game, and then the host will describe it. And then they just go like that. So it's a shared responsibility there a little bit.
Yeah. And if that works for you, then that's great. I have found over the years that most actors can't be arsed, as they might say in the UK. They just don't, they really don't care beyond I want to play. And when that happens, you have to take the cheat sheet, the show run. I look at it not so much as a cheat sheet as something that is going to help me do the best show possible.
He's not really asking, the host isn't really asking who wants to play. They know it's just their cue to run out and go, we're going to play this.
Well, I mean, and that's fine. Again, if that works for you, that's perfectly fine. My focus is on presenting the best show possible. And a show run where you actually, and this is extra important for a showcase show, for a student showcase, because they are so nervous. The students are literally about to throw up typically before the showcase. And, you tell them it's going to be great. It'll be over like that. It's an hour. It goes by in the blink of an eye. You'll never even know you're on stage at the end. And they don't believe you until they actually hit the stage and it's go, 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 go. And the show is good. And at the end, they're like, oh my God, it's over. That was fantastic. And the more you can do as the host to unburden them so they can focus on the performance and the skills that they've learned, the better for them and for the show. Now, what you're talking about, a very experienced crew, a very experienced troupe. Yeah, if that works, then by all means do that. In my experience, though, the show run with people named off, and of course, this actually kind of ties into what you're saying. You show them the show run beforehand. You show all the actors your show run beforehand, and say and if somebody doesn't want to play a game, then you rearrange it. So I would take that show run, I would print it out, put it on my clipboard, take it to the theater, go to the green room and say, okay, guys, here's the show run for tonight. Does anybody have any questions or have any changes? And if they want changes, then you make the changes, just pencil them in or whatever. Does that address what you're asking, Danelle?
Yeah, I think it's all the same. It's all the same. Yeah, everybody's got, I like your sheet there. That's nice.
Yeah. And it takes a lot of, it lets the host, it frees the host up as well from having to memorize that stuff. I'm almost 60 years old. I have a hard time remembering, where's my wife? Oh, she's at work. I'm like Memento over here. I've got crap written all over myself. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Let's see here. Did I get everything? I did. Okay. So this next section is very oddly named How to Do It. Okay, so how to do it. Once you've got all this prep down and you're ready to hit the stage, be detail oriented, high energy, have an entrance. I know a lot of troops will just kind of walk out, or they'll run out to some music, and it's there, but it's not. Is it really worthy of that $15 that the people paid? We would typically rehearse our entrances, and we always had a high energy bit of music to come out to. For my shows, whenever I was hosting, I would typically play Timmy Trumpet Freaks, which I was going to try. I think Zoom will copyright strike me if I try to play that here, but you can look that up. I will type that in the chat. It's Freaks by Timmy Trumpet. And some other good ones are We Care a Lot by, what is that? Faith No More. That's a different vibe from Timmy Trumpet. And then Are You Gonna Be My Girl by Jet. So Freaks and Are You Gonna Be My Girl, very high energy, a lot of bass, a lot of drum, really gets the blood moving, gets the audience, and you encourage the audience to clap, get them going with you. David Letterman famously would keep the Ed Sullivan Theater very, very, very cold so that the audience would feel any sort of motion that they could do, they would appreciate. So they would like to clap. They would do anything to keep warm. Let's see here. We got, okay, yeah, Laura has sent some actual links to YouTube. Thank you, Laura. I will add those to my notes for next time. Let's see here. Right, so pick a good song, pick something that the audience is going to get pumped with, and then practice your entrance at least once or twice. Let's see. Now, when you're actually introducing games, don't be too verbose. You should try and keep your introduction for any given game down to 30 seconds or less. A lot of times you'll find yourself losing track of your train of thought when you are introducing a game. That focus comes with experience. The more you do this, the more you'll get down your introduction for a game and how you introduce it. The things to make sure that you get are, you need to give the audience enough information to follow the game, how the game works. And if you're hosting a showcase, a student showcase, especially an introductory showcase, you definitely need to make sure you give enough information for the actors to remember how to play the damn game. Because many times they will just, again, that is the first time they've probably been on stage. Their friends, their family, they're out there, they're sweating bullets, especially that first game. They're going to forget how things work. So it's up to you to, in the guise of helping the audience, help your actors as well and give them what they need to play the game effectively. Sometimes you will want to make your actors demonstrate the game to more effectively show how it works. There's a game called Foursquare, which I believe is also called Corners, and it has a bunch of different names, but it's 4 actors. They're in a square and they're acting out a series of scenes. And the gimmick of the game is when you ring the bell, they rotate. So every time you ring the bell, the actors will rotate to a different part of the square, right? And as they do that, the scene changes and the characters sort of change. So if it helps to introduce the game by having the actors demonstrate a tiny piece of it, then do that. And of course, make sure your actors know that they are supposed to do that, because there's nothing worse than ringing the bell and standing there waiting for the actors to help you with the introduction. And they just are like, what the hell are you doing, Diz? We talked about this. You're supposed to move. Okay, well, So, there are some games where you have to write stuff down. Yeah, like changing emotions and fill in the not fill in the blank. Yeah, fill in the blanks. So fill in the blanks, the audience has done that for you ahead of time out in the lobby. But changing emotions, you're going to get a series of emotions from the audience right then and right there in the middle of the game, in the middle of the show, and that can disrupt the flow. So if it is an onerous amount of things to write down, have another actor ready to help you. Have some pens for them, have some pieces of paper for them. Just be sure to stage all that stuff along with your other tools before the show. Let's see here. We're almost to the part where we're going to do stuff. I apologize. Any questions so far? Okay. Now, when it comes to taking suggestions from the audience, it has taken me a long time to come to this conclusion, but what I want to tell you is that you do not have to take the first thing you hear in the audience. Okay. There are a lot of troops, and I was part of one of them that for a lot that take the first thing that they hear, no matter what it is. My old partner and mentor, Kevin, used to say, it's our job to make the horrible beautiful. Well, I don't want to make the Holocaust beautiful. Okay. I don't want to make racism beautiful. I want to shame that person that just said that horrible thing in the audience and thinks it's funny. I want them to never do that again. But of course, you have to be kind. So you can ignore those horrible things that the audience shouts out. Your job as host is not to show how clever you are. Your job is to put your actors in the best light possible and give your audience the best show possible. And I know my actors do not want to do another scene about 9/11. They do not want to do another scene about Trump. They do not want to do another thing about the Holocaust. They want to put on a funny show. They want to put on a good show. So you do not have to take the first suggestion that you hear. That is not something that you have to do. Hello, Beth. Okay. Am I okay, my AirPods are not dead. Nobody's just nobody's talking. I guess that's good. Okay. This is also a safety issue. Okay. Hello, Beth.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. I am recording this on video and also a transcript. So
Awesome.
I'll be happy to provide that to you afterwards.
Great.
Okay. Right. So again, you don't have to take the first thing that you hear from the audience for a suggestion. And I would argue that this is a safety issue for some actors. Okay. We had an actor in the troupe, a young lady who I will call Mary. And Mary came to us one time and said, you know, Diz, I'm tired of taking scenes based on the word tampon. And Kevin, my old partner, and I looked at each other and we were like, we really hadn't noticed that that was happening. And she said, of course you haven't noticed. You're guys. That's not something you're going to notice. And we were properly embarrassed. And we said, you know what? You're absolutely right. That should not be happening to you. And so we stopped doing it. We started deflecting that sort of stuff. Women in particular, now that I'm looking for it, I see that women in particular get a ton. When a woman is on stage and about to start a scene and you're asking the audience for suggestions, they get a ton of misogynistic and just bullshit that no woman wants to hear over and over and over again. So my argument is that it can be a safety issue, a mental health issue for the women in your troupe to have to put up with that crap over and over and over again. So how do you handle that? Well, number one, you just ignore it. If you've got a good audience, you've got a lot of suggestions flying at you. And so you take one that you know that the actors that you've picked, sorry, I just stepped on a cat. It's just like a friggin' Steve Martin movie here. There's a toddler down the hall screaming. There's a cat under my feet. You know that the actors that you've cast in this game are good at this game, and you know what their skills are, and you know what their weaknesses are, and you know that tampon is not going to give the audience a good scene. And also it's going to piss off Mary because she's told you she doesn't want to do another scene about a tampon. So you wait until you hear something that you know plays to the strength of those actors. Again, your job as the host is to put on the best show possible. And that includes not just for the audience, but for your actors. Okay. So let's see. I've beat that to death because I've been beaten to death on that issue. I like to think I can learn, and I hope I hope that I have. Right. So if you do have somebody in your audience that's constantly giving you craptacular suggestions, they may, over the course of the evening, become more and more belligerent, or what we call a heckler in the business. Now, in stand-up, which I've also done, dealing with hecklers is easy. You just put them in their place as viciously as possible, and then you hope that they either shut up or you have them escorted out of the room. In improv, hecklers are typically a lot more insidious. They give really creepy suggestions. They give racist suggestions. They give misogynistic suggestions. They give just awful, awful things that they think because they're out and they've had a few beers, it's perfectly fine to say. Since it's a comedy show, it's perfectly fine to say it because it's all a joke. When you're dealing with these people, the simplest way to deal with them is just ignore them. And then if they become more and more of a problem, you might need to ask them to leave. If you're like most troops, you probably don't have a bouncer. So you have to very carefully thread that needle, and you have to be very cognizant of the fact that if that one person gets up and leaves, they might take the whole audience with them. Because improv shows, typically it's big groups of people that come to see an improv show, and sometimes it's just one group of people. But that's okay, because I don't want to do a show for a bunch of racist dickheads anyway. And you've already got their money. That's the fourth rule of improv: no refunds. Or I have a note that I was supposed to say sooner. If the perfect zinger presents itself, like the person has got some obvious thing going on that night, then by all means zing them and move on. And hopefully that will shut them up. Hecklers are a very, very difficult thing to deal with when they're bad. And you have to be it's a very fine line between being kind to the audience, which we discussed earlier, and protecting yourself and your actors and the rest of the audience. It's something that, again, fortunately, we don't have to deal with much in improv, but it is there and it does happen on occasion. Has anybody ever had a very bad heckler at an improv show? Okay. Laura, Beth, you spoke up first. What was that? Just briefly.
It was just somebody from the audience, like you said, just kind of shouting out inappropriate things over and over. And we just had him escorted out, and he screamed and yelled on his way and threw a chair and said he was going to call the cops and go on Yelp and give us all these bad reviews, and called and left 15 voice messages on my phone the rest of the show.
Wow.
But he never did any of that, and I hope he made it home okay, because he was quite inebriated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Laura,
it was quite the scene.
Laura,
But
did you have
one of my best friends was in the audience that night, who looks like a young Arnold Schwarzenegger, so took care of him for me.
Very nice. Very nice. Laura, did you have one?
We had one. They were very drunk, and so they kept on repeating the name of one of the characters that someone had taken on in the game. They just kept on repeating it, and then they kept on saying really inappropriate words, and then because we were ignoring them, they then started speaking in a different language. And one of our players who spoke the language just did a monologue on stage, but was basically talking at that person, and was kind of like, it was basically told them, if you don't shut up, then we'll kick you out. But they thought they were being clever by changing the language, and so it did work in that sense. But yeah,
wow.
We normally celebrate the first penis. So if someone suggests penis, we get the whole audience to celebrate the first penis, and then that kind of stops the person from ever suggesting anything like that
That's
again.
very good. That's very good. I'm gonna celebrate the first penis. I'm putting that on my tombstone, quite frankly. We had a lot of theaters have a slideshow. We had a slideshow, and there was a slide that said, "These are the things that we get every time. Please don't suggest these things: banana, pineapple, Lincoln, Trump." 9/11, those things. It's just a big slide full of awful things. Anybody else have any heckler experiences? Okay, well, good. So I'm sorry I can't be more concrete or give you more finite steps to deal with a heckler. Yes, Danelle.
I was just wondering, those that are getting the hecklers, is alcohol being served at your theater?
Yes.
Well, that's maybe part, because I haven't been part of that in the theaters I go to. They've never served alcohol.
Mm.
Yeah, alcohol is a big part of it. Alcohol is a big part of it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's just the human animal. They get drunk and they think they can do anything they want. So,
And it's how the theatre gets more money. Should get
and it's
more
how
money
the
behind the
theaters stay
bar.
away, stay alive. Yes.
Amen, sister.
Yeah.
Well, that's a
Amen.
whole other class. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Back to actor safety. Now we talked about mental safety. There's also physical safety for your actors. Whenever you're interacting with the public, there can be issues where they don't quite understand how to play their part in the game that you brought them up for. For example, there's a game called Moving People. Yeah. Where, you've got two actors, they stand still and the audience moves them and they act out the scene while the audience moves them. One time I was playing this game and the other actor was being moved by another person. That other person took the other actor's hand, pulled it up, balled it up into a fist, and then threw it in my face. So whenever I host this game, I very specifically say, please do not hurt my actors. And I give that example of being punched in the face by another actor vicariously through an audience member. So when you're hosting, and if you feel there's any opportunity for an actor to get hurt through audience participation, you have to be very careful with the instructions that you give the audience members that you've brought on stage, because you have no idea who these people are for the most part. Another thing when you bring people on stage is to make sure they understand the limits of improv. And I don't know another way to say that. Let me give this example and hopefully it'll make sense. There's a game that we play called Family Dinner, where it uses the horn and it uses the bell. And you bring an audience member up and they cast 4 people from your improv troupe as members of their family. And then they act out their family dinner. And whenever an actor does something in character, the audience member rings the bell. And whenever they do something out of character, they honk the horn, which I will not do because my toddler is finally asleep. And so we had another drunk audience member come up to play this game one time and gave them the standard spiel about how to play the game as the host. And then we went on to have the worst ever family dinner performance that we've ever had. And usually this game kills because you eventually hone in on some really either dark or hilarious stuff through this searching for the family's behavior. But in this particular case, nothing was landing, nothing was working. They weren't ringing the bell, they weren't honking the horn. And then afterwards, after the game was over, I asked them, I mean, your family, are they real? She said, no, I made them all up. She invented every single family member on the spot and then had nothing to drill down on. So you have to make sure that they understand these should be real people that you're inventing for this game. And you think to yourself, that's stupid. Why would you have to tell somebody that? Because people are stupid. Because people, especially drunk people, when they get up there and they're nervous, they're on the spot. So you have to lay it out for them as detailed as possible. Okay. And I don't mean to paint with a broad brush. Not everybody's stupid, just drunk people. Okay. No, not drunk people. No. A lot of drunks in my family. I take that back. Don't know where I'm going with that. Okay. So
You're trying to dig yourself out of a hole is what
I'm
you're doing.
trying to dig a bigger hole, quite frankly. All right, so let's see here. Any questions about any of that stuff? Okay. Now, intros and exits. You need to decide ahead of time if you're going to do your actor intros at the beginning of the show or the end of the show, or both, because sometimes you'll forget and you'll come off the stage and go, oh, we didn't introduce ourselves. So make sure you know when you're doing your introductions at the top or the bottom of the show. Make sure you have your name pronunciations correct for your actors. Avi, I really hope I'm still getting your name right.
Oh yeah, I think you said Javi, so I think that's good. So
Okay,
H,
very good.
yeah.
So my memory is horrible. So and my last name is Disbro. So I know that getting your name wrong hurts. And so I try really hard. Make sure you have pronouns right for your actors. Okay. And this is an aside for my fellow improvisers over the age of 50. Pronouns can seem hard. They can seem silly, but they are important to these folks. They are important. I have a daughter who uses they, them pronouns. And I get taken to task regularly for screwing that up. I have actors that use they, them pronouns, and I get taken to task regularly for screwing that up. And nothing can kill a young actor's mood on stage during a show than if you get their pronouns wrong. I will screw up and I'll look back and I realize I've screwed up and I'll just see them there shaking their head. Like, oh, Diz fucked up again. Okay, well, I'm sorry. And I apologize afterwards. It's going to happen, but it's something, it's modern, it's new, it's hip. We're old. We don't understand it necessarily, but it's important. And it's something that as a host, you have to be aware of and you have to make an effort. And do not be afraid to apologize and tell them that you will try and do better, and then try and do better, because that's really important. Let's see here. Right. Now, another thing that a lot of new hosts have a problem with is ending games. Okay. Basically everything that we've talked about so far has been prep work and getting into it and getting ready to start the show. And we're going to talk about introducing games here in a minute. But ending a game is just as important as all this other stuff. Knowing when a game has run its course is very important. In long form, it's not so much your problem as the host, because you've got other actors that are going to sweep or they're going to cut or they're going to do something like that. But in a short form show, it's up to you to know when to ring the bell and say, this game is over, let's move on to the next one. There's no hard and fast rule for this. You are, of course, waiting for a big laugh, if at all possible. Or if it's a scene or a game that has taken on some emotional weight and some heft, you're looking for that big emotional thing to happen. You're looking for, the payoff. You know the audience wants it. You want it. You know the actors want it, but do they see it? Are they moving towards it? So you have to have an ear for that and look for that. Typically, what I like to do, if you've got a short form show that runs an hour and 15 minutes, you're typically going to have 10 or 11 games in there. So each game is going to run maybe 3.5 minutes, with the host time in between being about 30 seconds. And it gets longer because things just get longer, especially if a game is really cooking and you want to let it run a little bit. So I try to let things run 2 minutes at a minimum, and then start looking for that big laugh, start looking for that emotional thing, start looking for that commercial break. If you're an older person like myself, you remember watching TV when we had commercial breaks. And what is a commercial break? They've just put something in your face that you want to have resolved. That's a good place to end a game. Okay. It can kind of feel like you're leaving the audience wanting more, or you're not resolving that thing. But so what? It's a short form improv game, and if you leave them wanting more, they're going to come back for more. So look, if you can't find that big laugh, if you can't find that emotional payoff, then look for that commercial break, and that's where you end your game. Okay. That is more an art than a science. And that, again, is something that comes with hosting. It comes with practice. All right. Let's see. Any questions about anything I've ranted about thus far? No?
It's not.
Okay.
Oh,
Huh?
I was gonna say it's not a question, it's just a reflection when you said
Go.
about the commercial break. Because in long form, we'd look for the commercial break to switch to the next scene so people can come back. So I wouldn't have thought of that in short form. So that's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not, some short form games lend themselves more to this than others. Like the game Foursquare that I was talking about earlier, that's a game of commercial breaks. Every time there's a commercial break, you ring that bell. And you hope that your actors know that the bell is going to be ringing faster and faster and faster, and those scenes are going to get faster and faster and faster. So yeah, different games lend themselves to different types of endings. So yeah, but yeah, you're exactly right. In long form, you're always looking for commercial breaks to do your sweeps and your cuts and your fades and all that other crap. Anybody else? Okay. All right. So I keep saying that this stuff comes with practice. So how do you practice without, charging people money to see you, screw up a show or two? What you want to do is you want to volunteer to host at practice. When you go to your troop practice or however it is you guys do things like jam, volunteer to get up and host a game or two or three or the night. That's the best way to do it. And then afterwards, solicit some feedback from the people that were playing in the games you hosted. Did you feel like I described the game properly? Is there any place I could have tightened it up? Did you have enough information to play the game? That sort of thing. And I have a very cringe note here in my notes. Don't be afraid to practice in front of your mirror. Don't be afraid to say, oh, my new choice introduction is really not working right now. I better, I'm gonna, as soon as I get out of the shower, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna practice right here in front of the mirror. Don't be afraid to do that. Don't be afraid to spend some time with yourself honing that craft. Okay, I think it's time for some exercises. Which I have no idea if this will work. Now, if we were doing this in meat space, as they say, I would just have everybody host some games. But we're gonna try hosting some different games. We're gonna actually play some games, because a lot of hosting is the actual playing of the game, ringing of the bell. And we'll use our voices if you don't particularly have a bell. And actually, I don't think a bell works very well here on Zoom anyway. Yeah, that was a big disappointment. I bought a xylophone for Zoomprov and all, but none of it worked. Right, first thing, I'm going to introduce some games. I'm going to omit the name, and I want you guys to tell me if you think you've got enough information to actually play the game as actors. Okay. So let's see here. What do I have here? Okay. Okay. Our next game is a game called Blank. And this is a game for Laura and Beth. Now, in this game, these guys are fantastic actors, but occasionally they will say something or do something that I don't like. When that happens, I will ring this bell and they will have to make a blank. So what's the name of that game?
New choice.
New choice.
New choice. Okay. Very good. Let's see. What's the next one? Okay. All right. Our next game is called Blank. This is a game for Beth, Avi, Aaron, and Beth. I'm going to start again because I read it wrong. 1, 2. All right, that's 2 actors. Okay, I'm sorry. I have notes for stereotypical introductions for different games, and I'm reading them instead of just using my brain, which they're embedded in. All right, here we go. Our next game is a game called Blank. And this is for Danelle and Peter. Now, in this game, they're going to be acting out a scene, but occasionally I can ring the bell and yell forward. And reverse. And they have to do the scene in reverse. Then I will ring the bell and say forward. And then they have to do the scene forward. And then I can ring the bell again, reverse, forward, so on and so on and so on until they want to kill me. What game is that?
Forward, reverse.
Forward and reverse. And I screwed it up, even reading it off the damn card. So, let's see here. And All right. You guys might okay. You might not know that game. All right. So I tell you what, let's this is hard to do on Zoom Prov because there are so few games that lend themselves to that sort of omission type description. So let's try our hand at hosting some games. Who would like to host a round of New Choice? And when I say host, we're going to play the whole game. I tell you what, I will host a round of New Choice, and then we'll let you guys do a round. Okay, who would like to play New Choice? All right, Danelle and Laura. Okay, everybody else, turn your cameras off, please.
Here.
Okay. All right, our next game is a game called New Choice. And this is a game for Laura and Danelle. And in this game, well, these ladies are fantastic actors, but occasionally they will say or do something that I don't like. And when that happens, I will say, new choice. And they have to make a new choice. So to get them started, let's have a relationship. Audience?
Teacher and student.
Teacher and student. Go.
Beth Ann, I don't think this is the right paper you're giving me. Did you write it?
No, I use ChatGPT because no one
New
writes
choice.
anything these more. No, I use the shit on my foot from standing in the dog poo because that's what you deserve, miss. You are a terrible teacher.
This paper smells horrible.
New choice.
Oh, I love the sparkles that are exuding from this paper.
I know that you love glitter, so I thought maybe this time you'd give me like an A minus. Like I know I'm a
New
C
choice.
student. I thought because you love glitter that maybe you might give me extra credits
New choice.
because maybe you'd put me in detention because you are really good at detention, miss, and I've never been in detention. So hence the dog shit glitter combination.
I like the idea of detention. Let's make it every Tuesday and bring me a salami. Oh, let's make it in the desert where there's bugs that'll attack you.
Okay, yeah, right. I don't really like bugs, miss, but
New choice.
yeah, I really love bugs. I've been reading on TikTok about the new kind of bug juice that we should. Have you tried it, miss? Like, have you tried the juice?
I have some right here. I always carry bugs with me. They get them at Shark Tank.
Shark
And
Tank.
scene, and scene. Very nice. Okay. Well, there we are. Okay, so who would like to give that a try? Oh, yes, very good, very good. I forget my Zoom Prov etiquette. Very nice, very nice. Well done. Danelle, excellent facial expressions. That was very good. Laura, good job.
That was fun. Thank you, Laura. And
all right, so who would like to try their hand at hosting New Choice?
I'll do it. I'll take the ring to
All right.
Mordor.
Avi. Okay, so who would like to play? Aaron and see, this is why you precast shows.
I don't mind going again, but if
I'll go. It'll be Aaron and me. Okay. All right, Avi. So what we need you to do is the whole introduction, and then you're driving it. You're the one yelling new choice, and you're also the one that's going to yell scene. Okay.
Sounds good. And I'll
okay,
scene it. All right. Hello, everyone. Yeah, that was a wonderful game that just came behind. This next game is called New Choice, and it's going to be played by Diz and Aaron. So in the middle of their scene, they're going to say some things that I want them said differently. And so I'm going to yell, new choice. And that actor is going to have to create a new choice. These are marvelous actors. We're going to have a lot of fun. And they're going to have to make a new choice every time I say new choice. And let's get a prompt. I need a object that you would find in your purse.
Lipstick.
Lipstick. This is a scene with Diz and Aaron, and it's lipstick.
That's a fabulous shade of lipstick you got on there.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
What color is that again?
It's raspberry blue.
New choice.
It's rabbit pink.
New choice.
It's SpaceX.
SpaceX, you say?
Yes.
I've never heard this color before.
Ooh, it's like the void. It's like looking into the void. It's like 99. It absorbs 99% of light and 2% of oxygen.
New choice.
It absorbs 97.67% of light, and it also attracts puppies.
I happen to have a puppy right here.
Can I see the puppy?
Of
I want to see the
course.
puppy. Oh, what a cute puppy. He looks just like you. I mean, he looks a lot like you. Is this a human puppy hybrid?
It's a human puppy hybrid. We call him human.
New choice.
We call him cat.
New choice.
We call him dog.
New choice.
We call him that thing in the corner there.
He's drooling blood on me now. I don't take it back.
I don't want him back. You can hang on to him for a little bit. He's friendly.
Yes, he's super friendly.
Okay, I'll take him back for now.
Oh. Where I want one. I want one to give to my ex.
I got him from the pet store.
New choice.
I got him from the alley.
New choice.
I got him from the corner over there.
And scene.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yay.
Very good. All right. Anybody, any notes or notes on mine too? Any notes? Anybody? Laura.
There was I think when the dog was about to kill you or the blood, that would have been a good time to call it before it got too emotive, I think.
Okay. My neck would agree. The intro, the good intro was good. Could have been a little tighter. And you reminded me that I actually wrote down some intros, some sample intros for all these games, which I will. Oh, the message is too long. Okay, well, Zoom. let me paste these one at a time. Let's see here. There's new choice. Changing emotions. And film and theater styles. Forward and reverse. In fact, let's try. I got a few more. Let's try forward and reverse. Who would like to? You can use that right there that I just sent if you want. Would anybody like to host forward and reverse?
I don't know why I'm.
What was that, Danelle?
I don't know why I'm suggesting this because I'm terrified of doing it, but
that's why.
Yeah.
All right. So Danelle's going to host forward and reverse.
All right. And I can read this.
Sure. So we need two actors. You know what? I'll play. I haven't actually played since I resigned from my improv troupe, so I haven't played in a while.
So I'm going to go ding, ding, ding to represent the bell.
Absolutely, yes. And you can just yell forward and reverse.
Oh, okay, great. Okay. Okay, yeah, sure. All right.
Okay. Who would like to play forward and reverse with me? Maddie, you've been quiet. How about you?
Yeah, actually, I don't really know how that works because, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I tell you what, we'll play around. Then maybe you can.
Because this actually, I've seen a similar one, but I don't know. I think it's a different game. So
okay. Well, the you can hop on the next one. We'll do it one time, then maybe you can hop on the next one.
Part of the reason I'm going to host this game is I hate this game. I can never keep it in my head with the reverse. But anyway, I'm still going.
Beth, how about you?
I hate this game too, but let's do it.
Let's do
Yay,
it.
Beth.
Okay.
Because
Everybody
we're
else
the
turn off
kindred
your
spirits.
cameras. Beth and I will play this, and Danelle will host.
Oh man, wasn't that last game hysterical? Love it. Now, if you thought that was funny, wait for this challenge. So our two amazing actors, Beth and Diz, are going to take on this challenge. The game is called Forward and Reverse. Okay, so they're going to start a scene in the middle. And in a moment, I'll ask for a suggestion from you. But they're going to go with their scene. And at any time, I can yell reverse. They have to do that whole scene again backwards. But then I can keep doing that throughout the whole thing. Forward, reverse, forward, reverse. I call. They have to repeat that same story. Now, I just need a word to start their scene off. What will inspire?
Candlelight.
Candlelight. Thank you. And take it away, actors. Candlelight.
So, what do you think? I mean, I think I did a pretty good job fixing up the house for this romantic dinner.
It looks absolutely marvelous. Marvelous. What's the occasion?
What's the? It's our anniversary. Wait, you forgot again?
I knew it was our anniversary. I was just testing you and you did great. You passed the test. I am so very proud. I'm
Thank you,
so
honey.
proud of you. That's great.
Reverse.
Thank you,
Reverse.
honey.
I was just testing you and you did great. I'm so very proud.
It's our anniversary. You forgot again?
But what's the occasion?
You think I did a good job fixing up the house for this romantic dinner?
Forward.
You think I did a good job fixing up the house for this romantic dinner?
Oh, it looks great, honey. What's the occasion?
It's our anniversary. I can't believe you forgot again.
I didn't forget. I was just testing you and you did great.
Oh, thank you so much. I feel so validated. You know,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Our 25th anniversary is something never to be forgotten.
it's our 26th.
And you passed again. Good job. You're doing
Yay!
so well at this.
Go me!
Reverse.
Go me!
Oh, good job. You're doing so well at this.
Yay!
I was testing you again and you passed.
It's our
Reverse.
26th.
I was testing you again and you passed.
Yay! Go me!
Reverse.
Yay! Go me!
Reverse.
Yay! Go me!
It was a test again and you passed.
And scene.
Oh my God, I hate that.
You did a great job. That was a fun scene. Well done, Danelle. Well done.
And
All
Beth,
right,
you
any
did
notes?
fantastic too. I mean, for hating that, yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
tell
was
you
great,
what,
Beth.
I'll
Yeah.
tell you what, I want to give myself a note. I want to start off with notes first.
Sure. Notes. Go,
Love
go.
it. Love it.
The thing that helped me decide when to do the reverse was when you did a gesture. Because I remember it's hard to remember the order, but if you do a gesture, so it's kind of thinking I was helping you all out too by this helps you remember where you're going.
That's
honestly did that.
that's a good note. That's a good point.
That's a good
Yeah.
point.
I like
And
that.
every something that's interesting, something that I tell my 101 students is that we call them improv games because they are games. They have hacks, they have cheats, they have little secret things that once you learn your way around the game, they help with the game, help you perform the game and host the game. And I think Danelle has found a hack there for hosting this particular game. And you'll notice that game gets, it's hard to do in Zoomprov, that game, but it gets better the more physicality that the actors bring to it, because then you're not only forward and reversing the words, but also the things.
Right.
And, one of the best forward and reverse games I ever saw was the suggestion was quinceañera. And, so I was the girl, and I was out there spinning, and showing everybody my dress. And by the end of it, I was about dead, about to throw up. But, that's the fun of it. Yeah. The only other note I would have is, I know you're nervous, but tighten up that intro.
Yeah.
You did a good job with the forwards and the reverses. And you ended the scene at a good place. So good job. Good job. Anybody else? Okay. Would anybody else like to try hosting that game? Remember the fourth rule of improv, no refunds. So I've got your money. You might as well put some time in.
For
Laura.
improvisers, we're all acting shy.
I know, it's weird. Okay. Beth makes an excellent point. And one thing that I've noticed everybody sort of in common talking about here tonight was this is not something that you're comfortable with. This is not something that you've done a lot of. And that's the purpose of this class, is I feel like I'm, don't be offended, but I kind of feel like I'm teaching a 101 class where I'm having to drag everybody out of their shell for this particular skill. And there's no shame in that. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm really enjoying this, and I hope you guys are too. So yeah, Alora's going to host, and who's going to play this time? Forward and reverse. Danelle?
Yeah, I'll play.
Okay. Maddie turned on his camera, so Maddie, how about you? Oh, no, he turned on his camera. I scared him away. You want to play this time, Maddie?
Yeah, so it's like I go backwards. I say the last sentence and the sentence before the last sentence.
You're not necessarily repeating the sentences in reverse order. You're saying your lines as if you were going backwards in time. So you're not talking backwards, and you're not saying the sentence backwards. You're just saying whatever group of sentences you said previously, you're saying that again. Okay. And any actions, I don't know if you're seated or what, but okay. So Laura is hosting, Danelle and Maddie. Everybody else, let's turn off our cameras and give them our attention.
Good evening, everyone. We have got the amazing Matty and Danelle here for our next game, which is called Forward and Reverse. In this game, the way it works is they will start their scene, and at some point, I will ring the bell and I will say reverse, and they will have to reverse the whole scene that we've seen so far. And then at some point, I might be kind to them and say forward again. So what I'd like to start is a relationship. Can I get a suggestion of a relationship that Danelle and Matty have?
Siblings.
Siblings, thank you very much. And we will start forward and reverse.
John, you're wearing my shirt.
Yes, Sybil. It's now that your shirts fit me. I'm big enough. You as my 10-year older sister.
Reverse.
Yes, Sybil. Now the fits. Your big shirts fit me. I'm big enough now.
You're wearing my shirt.
Forwards.
You're wearing
Sybil.
my shirt.
Yes, Sybil, as your brother, I'm now big enough, see here. You're 10 years older, but finally I can wear them. Don't need to buy new ones.
You're growing up so fast. Oh my God.
Yeah, you cannot call me Little John anymore.
I can't call you Little John anymore. Oh my gosh, you're old enough to mow the lawn.
Reverse.
You're old enough to mow the lawn. Here.
You cannot call me Little John anymore.
You're getting so big.
Forwards.
You're getting so big.
You cannot call me Little John anymore.
You're getting so big you can mow them. You can take the lawnmower.
Oh yes. I like this lawnmower. Dad used to ride it.
Reverse.
It's with the steering wheel, right? Okay, let me.
Dad
Again?
used to ride it.
Reverse.
Dad used to ride it. I miss Dad.
Yeah, Dad used to ride it here with this steering wheel, and I can step on the gas. I like this.
Here, you're old enough to ride, roll around here.
And that's the end of that scene. Well done, Danelle and Matty. Thank you.
Very nice.
Oh, great.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody? Notes? Anybody? Good scene. Good scene. Good scene.
I'm just gonna close my window. It is pouring like mad. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, dear.
Oh, I just, Laura, I thought the directions were so clear and concise, and just so well said. So really
Yes.
huge props on the instructions were perfect. So I was
Yeah,
wondering,
that was
like,
fun.
yeah, in terms of your personality, kind of like, I'm curious, like, how you can bring, like, even amp it up even more energy wise.
Is that for me?
No,
Yeah.
that'd be Laura. Like, how do you go oomph? How do you bring more oomph to it? But like, kind of, but keeping it true to yourself, that type of stuff.
Oh. That just comes with practice, and you have to find your level.
Yeah.
Although,
Otherwise, that was wonderful. Yeah. Super.
yeah. Yes, that was very well done. It did remind me of a thing that I should have had in my notes originally, and I've added now. As the host, okay. So this game is actually really, really good for this. I'm pleased to find out, because there are a lot of opportunities in this game for stuff to go wrong, right? The host loses track. Did I last say forward? Did I last say reverse? The actors lose track. Am I going in forward? Am I going in reverse? But that's the beauty of this game. That's what makes this game funny, is you get your actors confused. You get them all literally turned around in a lot of cases. And that's where a lot of the humor from this game comes from. Yes, Donnell.
Oh, I just want to give kudos to Laura, because Matt, I know this was, I think, the first time, or maybe I'm familiar with this game as I am. And when you came out with your first line, it was so much information. I was terrified. I thought I would never be able to remember that. That was my line. So I was so glad that Laura right away made you repeat it. And I thought that was a real gift. And I was thinking, she's going to have my back. She's going to take care of me.
Yeah.
If I go too far. I appreciate
there are two ways to approach this game as the host.
That's right.
You can do that where you send them back almost immediately, or you can let them go a little bit further and then send them back. Typically, when I host this game, I will do back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Let the scene progress more than regress, and then when you get maybe 2 minutes into the scene, say reverse, and then just put the bell down. And let them go all the way back to the beginning, and then say forward, and then let them, and then do that. And it, excuse me. And then, especially if you've got some monologues in there, like Maddie was doing, it becomes even funnier, because they've gone all this way, and then they have to go all the way back through all those monologues and all that stuff. And they're going to forget stuff. But if they don't forget stuff, that's even more impressive, and the audience loves that. So there's really, unless something goes horribly, horribly wrong, there's very few ways to lose playing this game in a show.
Oh.
Yeah, Donnell.
I think the other reason why I never play that game, first of all, I think it's really hard to do. And also, I'm old. I'm going to be nearly 70. I can barely move it. And it's a very physical. People love, when they're watching, they want to see that acrobat do a million cartwheels or tumble, and the big wrestling. They want to see that. So thanks for doing it on Zoom. I feel like it's helping my trauma.
Well, so all that, you're very welcome. All that was to say is, as the host, when you take Improv 101, your teacher hopefully told you, do not be afraid to fail. Do not be afraid to get up there and look silly. This is a game where you get paid, you get rewarded for looking silly in this game. And that also translates to the host in this particular case, because of what we were talking about before. Oh, I've forgotten where we're at. Let's just torture them. You know, and everybody has to do their part in a game like this. The host has to be looking for those places to back up, has to be and the actors have to be doing the physical things, and they have to be giving the monologues. So it's really a cooperative thing, this particular game. All improv games, I feel, are really cooperative between when they're really cooking between the host and the players. And the more you host, and the more you get to know your players and their strengths and their weaknesses, again, that comes back to precasting the shows and the games, and knowing what your players can give you, and therefore translating that into what they can give the audience. Okay, let's try. Oh, we're rapidly running out of time. Let me put a few more games in here. I want you guys to have all these. So this is a game that we play. It's called All Knowing Sphinx.
Oh,
Another game. We'll do that one next, I think. But I just want to make sure I get all these in the chat. Then there's Two Line Scene. And then there's Countdown. Now, Countdown is one that we would sometimes end a show with. It's a timed game where you've got three actors, and they do a scene in 90 seconds, then they reset, then 60 seconds, then 30 seconds, 15, 7, and 3. That's another big high energy game that doesn't really translate well to Zoom. I was thinking we might have time to try it, but I don't think we do, because that game literally takes 6 minutes to run through.
it's fun.
It is a very fun game. If you've got,
We call
if
that
you've
one
got,
Half-Life.
okay, there you go. If
Yeah.
you've got three actors or even two actors that like to throw themselves on the ground, put them in that game, because they will be sore, but they will be happy. Okay, All Knowing Sphinx. Let's try that one. This is an Oracle type game, one word at a time Oracle game, and this is one where you as the host get to, well, the way we play it is, it's the All Knowing Sphinx. We take three actors and we put them in a line, which we can't do here, but we put them in a line, one sitting on the stage, one in a chair, and one standing behind the one in the chair. And then they start like this. And then we get a question from the audience, and the host says, All Knowing Sphinx. And they go, yes. And then you ask the question, and they go, And then they do this. And then they answer the question one word at a time until someone says period or exclamation point. Yeah. So it's an Oracle game. And that the audience loves that game because it's silly. It typically goes off the rails. And you've also got an opportunity as the host to break out a different persona. Since it is, I pitch it as an ancient artifact. It's the all-knowing Sphinx recovered from the sands of Egypt and here for one night only, and it can answer any question that you have. And so then I become a huckster, right? And like a snake oil salesman, and I'm asking the questions. I'm getting a little more interactive with the crowd. And yes, the question over here from the fellow in the suit that's too tight, that sort of thing. And also, this is a game where you can actually fuck with the audience just a little bit, because if you've got somebody that says, "Hey, all knowing Sphinx, am I going to get laid tonight?"
No.
No. Period. Boom. Done. You give them that, and the audience loves that stuff. They love that stuff. So, let's try that. I need three heads for the all knowing Sphinx. Peter?
I was
You
gonna.
got a question?
No, I can do the hosting.
Oh, you want to host?
I host or play, whatever.
Okay, Peter will host. And I need three heads for the all knowing Sphinx. Aaron, Laura, and Yavi. Javi, damn it. Just send me hate mail. Send me hate mail. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see here. So we need to determine the order of the heads since we're on Zoom. Can I follow host's view order? Okay, so I'm going to put you there. I'm going to put Laura there. Okay, does everybody see that? Okay,
I'm
so
on
Peter
top.
should be at the top, then Laura on the left, Javi in the middle. Thank you for this pronunciation guide, and Aaron at the end. So Laura, you're 1, Javi, you're 2, Aaron, you're 3. Okay, so Peter, take it away.
Hey, we got a game that you're going to love. It's called the All-Knowing Sphinx. Ladies and gentlemen, you're here for this auspicious occasion. For tonight, for this one night only, we are joined by the most mysterious of ancient artifacts, the All-Knowing Sphinx. The Sphinx is called All-Knowing because it knows all. It sees all. It can answer any question you might have. So, who has a question for the All-Knowing Sphinx?
I have a question.
Please, what is it, Danelle?
My dad wants me to be a doctor. What should I be in my life?
Danelle's dad wants her to be a doctor. What should she be in life?
Don't.
Look.
Backward.
Instead,
Stay.
Relevant.
to.
The.
Cause.
Period.
There you go. How about another question from the audience?
I have a question.
Please, let's hear it.
What can I do to lower my car insurance?
Ooh, that's a great question. We all need to know. What can we do to lower our car insurance?
Always.
Put.
Geico.
Into.
Your.
Phone.
But.
Wait.
5
Years.
There you
And-
go. Sorry.
Then.
Wait.
Another.
5.
Years.
Period.
There you go. I'm sorry, Sphinx. I was just so excited by that. Forgive me. But obviously, waiting those 5 years is going to make a difference for you and your car insurance. One more question before the Sphinx needs to go.
I have one.
Oh, let's hear it. Beth? Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. Listen, hopefully Beth will get her audio going. Let's get one more question.
I have a
Maddie,
question.
Les,
I have a
let's
question.
hear it.
So I have a colleague and he has bad breath. What should I do? How could I tell him?
Oh my God, what a common problem, just having bad breath. And it's your workmate, your colleague. What do you do when your colleague has bad breath?
Tomorrow.
He.
Will.
Not.
Arrive.
Safe.
To.
Your.
Destination.
Because.
You.
Seek.
Poisonous.
Binds.
Toothpaste.
Yes.
Exclamation point.
Oh my God. I'm telling you, thanks for that last question because the Sphinx is getting a tad dark, don't you think? This poisonous toothpaste. Well, anyway, listen, thanks for coming. I hope you enjoyed the Sphinx. Come on back next week and enjoy it again. Thank you.
Well done. Well done, everybody. Good job, Peter.
Thank you.
Any notes? Anybody? Beth, what happened? Did your audio just dropped out?
I don't know. Maybe I'm too far. I'm sitting in the parking lot of my theater because my
Oh.
husband's in there building a set and he's very noisy.
Oh, okay.
So I'm in my car. So my Wi-Fi may have gone wonky.
Yeah, it
Okay.
just dropped.
Well,
It's okay. He asked the question I was going to ask pretty closely anyway.
that's usually what happens. There's
I
always.
know.
All right, so that is about all of our time, unfortunately. Does anybody have any final thoughts or questions or anything?
I have one comment, and I have no excuses for not jumping in because I do host improv, and that's why I'm taking this, is because I want to be better than what I am. But we were talking earlier, and I'm sorry I missed the first hour. I got my times mixed up, but we were talking earlier about suggestions and how they can be problematic. So what I do before our shows is I have forms already ready for people, and they fill out. And I only have three things. I have a noun, I have a complete sentence, and I forgot what the other one was. I can't even remember. That's terrible. But there's three things that they can put suggestions down for, and we cull through those before the show, and we take out every dildo, we take out every stripper.
Yeah.
We take those all out, and then we have stacks of things to pull from. I think it's profession is the other one. And so we will pull from those, and they know they're their suggestions, and they get just as excited when I pull one. Even if 6 people put swimming pool on there, all 6 are going to think she pulled my suggestion.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
that's a perfectly valid approach to that. I mean, there's
and so we do that, and we do call from the audience sometimes, but when we do blind freeze, I'll say, hey, I'm looking for a physical position that's not sports, yoga, or sexually related.
I could see why you'd put those qualifiers on there. No, that's a perfectly valid way to approach gets. That if you've got an audience that's doing stuff like that. I mean, we've all gotten. We actually did a commercial for the theater a couple years back. It's on our YouTube page, where somebody yells out dildo and an actor jumps off the stage and beats him to death.
Oh.
So with a dildo, he just happened to have one.
Just happened to.
It was
That's funny.
The height of irony. So yeah, I mean, whatever you have to do to keep your actors safe, and and again, like I was talking about at the top, I feel our job is to put on the most professional show possible, and to make it where people look at your local improv group and say, that was as good, if not better, than Whose Line. And they didn't have an edit bay, they didn't record 4 hours worth of stuff to get 30 minutes worth of good stuff, and want to come back. Maddie, did you have a question?
Yeah, I have one question regarding suggestion from an audience member, because I did this quite a lot now, sometimes. So for this kind of new choice game, I get a premise from an audience member asking some private details about holiday, for example, and then the actors later play out the holiday,
Right.
and every time something is wrong, the audience member has to hit the bell. But for this, I go to the audience member. So I go off stage and I ask some questions. So, and last time it was maybe a little bit too private, because I asked who she was with on holiday, and it was about boyfriend and something. So I don't know if you guys do this, because most of the time I think the host is on stage, but this is when that's the case, I have to go to the audience area, and then. So how do you manage that without?
Oh, you mean interviewing an audience member?
Interviewing an audience member. So for this, I have to go off stage, and it takes some time to get out of stage, interview the person, come back, and not lose too much energy, and
not lose the energy. Yeah. Okay. So yes, the game that I was mentioning earlier, Family Dinner, that is a long game to set up. You have to get an audience member. You have to have them pick 4 actors to portray their family members, and then you have to ask at least 3 questions about each family member. What's their name? What's their relationship to them? And what do they do for a living? So multiply all that out, and you're looking at maybe 5 minutes of setup for that game. And then if the game is really rocking, you play it for maybe another 5 or 6 minutes. So that's a long game. We typically put that game at the end of the night because the payoff for that game is huge. I don't know the form you're talking about. I don't know what the payoff is like, but if it's a big payoff, if it always kills, I would suggest maybe putting that at the end of the night and closing with that. But the actual setup, the actual interviewing the audience member, if you can bring them on stage, do that. If that's not viable and you do have to go down into the audience, just make darn sure that you know exactly what you're going to ask and be willing to urge them along. What's your name? Get that out quick. What do you do? Tell us about your holiday. We used to do a whole long form show called Your Stories, where we would ask the audience to tell us a story about their day or their week or some event that happened to them. And then we would act it out, sort of like what you're talking about. And for something like that, yeah, you have to accept that there's going to be a drag on the show when you do that setup. It's really unavoidable unless the audience member is got some stuff to say that's just hilarious all on its own. What did you do today? Oh, I went to a chicken farm and I was attacked by 13 hens. Oh, that's pretty good. Let's hear that. Let's see that. You might not even need another question after that. Hell, let's just turn that back to the stage and let's see that. So yeah, that's just something that comes with time and practice and learning how to wrangle the audience member. That sort of individual attention that you're paying to an audience member is going to definitely be a drain on the energy level of the show. So you just have to be ready to, either follow it up with a high energy game or make it the last thing of the night. Okay, Peter.
Just
Okay, thanks.
with Maddie's question, in St. Louis, when they do that particular game, it's bringing up a couple. How
Yes.
did you?
First date.
So yeah, so all of a sudden now you hit his perspective, her perspective. The players get the notes, boom, it goes, and the audience loves it because now those people are a little nervous and they're telling a little bit of a story, and then the acting it works well. But you use that as the end. You like to use that as the end game for the night.
Yeah, we do family dinner. We would typically close with that.
In St. Louis, typically they do a joke round. They do 2 or 3 joke rounds. World's worst.
Oh yeah.
Things like that. So once they get that really big laugh, that's it. Yeah. The minute they get the laugh, that's the end of the show. That's the goal here.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Danelle.
Do you have time for another question? I know.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, I like these last 2 questions a lot, and I'm familiar with Peter's game about the couple. They're together, so they're talking about how they meet, and so that scene is very fun. But the family dinner I've never heard of before, and I immediately started to think, oh, what if they're trashing family members? But you clarified it for me. It sounds like you're not getting a whole family picture. You're getting just simple relationship, profession, and maybe hobby. And it sounds like it's the actors that embellish and can go new choice. They can be a chicken farmer, or they can. And then is it the guests at that point? Does the horn for that's correct, or does
correct.
The horn, does the bell for that's correct, or does
correct.
the bell because oh, that's not correct, but I want to hear more of that? Or is it
no.
way?
The bell is correct and the horn is not correct. So if, like mom said, if you're sitting down at the dinner and dad says, "Oh, honey, this is the best. You're such a wonderful cook," and they honk the horn, baby, you couldn't boil water. This is horrible. And then they ring the bell. So you're actually discovering the real behaviors of the family members and things that
although if the participant is going to be partaking too, they might choose like, that's outrageous, that's not correct, but I want you to go there. So they might feed on to the outrageous, like, yeah, they went with space aliens or something.
Well, you have to trust that you give them the setup, you give them the rules of the game, and you have to trust that they're willing to play along accordingly. Typically
Honestly,
that
yeah.
typically that is what happens, unless, like as I mentioned earlier, you have somebody who's completely wasted and they make up a family out of whole cloth. Then you're going to, because we find that people like to expose their families this way.
Okay.
We did
Okay.
this we did this one time in a little town upstate, and the woman, everybody in her family was either a police officer or a truck driver, and we found out that at least one of her family members has murdered somebody on the side of the road and gotten away with it, and it just blew my mind, the stuff that comes out of this game. It's bizarre. And her family was there and they were dying. They were laughing their asses off. And it's worth trying. It's worth taking to your troop and giving a shot. All right. And if you need more information, then by all means, just contact me directly and I can probably even point you to some video. So it's hard to get approval from people for that game sometimes, because they do reveal things that they don't want out in the world, but they're okay with it being revealed at an improv show. If it, then you tell them, oh, we recorded that. And they're like, oh God, no. All right. So that is the workshop. I hope everybody enjoyed that. Thank you so much for coming. Please send me your feedback. I'm surrounded by cats. And I'm on Facebook. Just look me up, Stephen Disbrow. If you're not already a friend of mine there, please do send me a friend request. And I'd like to keep in touch with everybody. I did set up a Discord server for this class. So you should have that link in one of the emails that I sent you. Please join. And if you've got any questions, we can discuss the class there. And if you take this, and start hosting shows, I'd be more than happy to be a resource for you, to follow up on that stuff. And that's it. Oh, I guess let's go around. Let's do the classic Zoom thing and go around the room and tell everybody where everybody's going to be at, like your social medias and stuff. I'll start. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Just look for Stephen Disbrow or Stephen Diz 3000. And that's where you'll find me. Peter.
Let's see. You can find the organization compassimprov.org, which is our nonprofit. And then there's a group that I host called St. Louis Short Form Improv, which is not really short form. It's whatever I find interesting. And I share it with people. So if you'd like to join that group, it would be great to have you.
Okay. Danelle.
Facebook. I'm not doing a show currently or anything other than on Zoom. So Facebook.
Okay. Zoom counts.
It does.
Laura.
I would say that my handle is Laura H_improviser, but since the pandemic technically finished, I've been locked out of all of my accounts. So I have a website, which is lifeisimprov.co.uk, and I teach at the Bristol Improv Theatre here in Bristol, UK. I've just put the links in the chat.
Oh,
very
thank
nice.
you. Yeah.
Hobby.
Yeah, I'd love to check it out. Fun fact, Laura I remember you being my first classmate from when I first went online in Queen City Comedy. And I guess it's been 4 years. That was the last time I saw you. So I think so. So that's so
yeah,
cool.
time flies. Thanks.
Time flies. Yeah, so great. Good luck to all of you. I guess you could find me on Facebook as well. I'll just keep it simple there.
Okay. Aaron.
The best place so far is just Facebook. I'm working on some other Facebook stuff, but the one right now is Aaron Smith Facebook.
Okay. Maddie.
Actually, not really social media, but you can find us on me or my troupe. It's a very open thing on Meetup. Chicken Cake Improv. Chicken Cake Improv.
I like that. That's very good. Beth.
I have an improv troupe here in Waco, Texas, and it's through my theater company. We do all kinds of things, improv, stand-up, dinner theater, murder mysteries, that kind of thing. But we perform once a month, and you can find me on Facebook at Beth Richards. And the Brazos Theater, at Brazos Theater on Facebook and Instagram, all the socials. We're going to be at Brazos Theater. And I put that in the chat.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. So like I say, I recorded this and I'll put I'm not exactly sure how to share that recording just yet, but I'll figure it out. And I'll put that in the Discord. Shoot, I guess I should put the Discord. Well, I don't have a, right. So send me, Discord is so stupid. The links expire, the invites expire after a week. Let me see if I can pull, oh, there we go. Let's see here. Where is it? Invite people. There it is. Copy and back to Zoom. All right. So there is a link to join the Discord. And that's it. Thank you all so much. I really, really appreciate this. I'm hoping to take this on the road as a full day class. So if you know of a theater that's looking for something like this, or you are a theater that's looking for something like this, then by all means, hit me up. Tell your friends. I'm hoping to offer this again through Queen City. I'm talking with Carla about that. And there we go. Again, it's been a while since I've done any improv, and I really, really appreciate you guys coming out for this. And thank you so much. Please do send me your feedback. I hope to make this better, and it can only get better with you. So that's it. I'm going to
That's
cry.
great.
No, I'm going to choke.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you. It's
Bye.
very nice meeting everybody.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay.